confident communication. We've got a set of sources here that all analyze this one really effective beginner resource. It's called Confident English, Describing Places for Beginners.
Okay, and before you think, oh, this is just the language lesson, let me stop you right there. Our deep dive today, it isn't about, verb tenses.
Not at all.
We're doing an analysis of the method. We want to deconstruct the architecture, the specific choices they made in delivering this stuff that it works. It lowers that anxiety barrier and boosts confidence for beginners almost immediately.
Precisely. We're looking for the universal principles, How do these sources show us an experience that's engineered for an early win? Because if we can find that blueprint, you can apply it to learning anything complex, really.
Data science, history, a new language.
Anything.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're decoding how deliberate simplicity and some really smart structural choices can translate directly into social confidence.
So the first thing the analysis really highlights is that confidence, well, it's not just a trait some people have, it's an environment.
An environment, okay.
And this source material, it meticulously engineers a very specific supportive atmosphere.
Yeah.
The goal is stated right up front, helping beginners learn how to speak without fear.
And that's it, right? The fear, that linguistic paralysis, that's the biggest wall to climb, way more than grammar rules.
Oh, absolutely.
That's such a crucial distinction. We usually focus on what we need to add, more words, more rules. But the real challenge is what we need to remove.
The anxiety.
Exactly. The sources detailing this resource, they all emphasize that the conversation style is, and I'm quoting here, slow, friendly, and easy to follow.
Let's just hang on that word slow for a second because it's a brilliant instructional move.
Yeah.
When a new learner is listening, their brain is doing at least two things at once. They're translating what they hear, and they're trying to figure out how to respond. If the pace is too fast, the whole system just overloads. They freeze up.
Right. Cognitive overload.
So by making the delivery intentionally slow, the resource creates a buffer. It gives you time to process before it asks you to produce.
That's the structural support that stops you from feeling overwhelmed. I mean, if you translate that to learning, say, a new piece of software, it means the tutorial shouldn't just blitz through the steps. They need to give you that explicit time to actually practice step A before we even mention step B.
Absolutely. The speed is a direct stress reliever. And then there's the content focus, which is just as important, real-life social situations.
So not abstract theory.
Not at all. It's about giving learners the words to describe the table you're sitting at or the street you just walked down.
Which gives it that immediate applicability. And as we always say here, applicability is what drives confidence. If you can use a phrase 5 minutes after you learn it, it sticks. You get that little reward hit in your brain.
And to get that, the speakers in this source conversation, they model some very deliberate techniques. I mean, the clear pronunciation is obvious, but the key structural choice is using short sentences.
Okay, but doesn't that risk making you sound a little robotic or, too blunt? Is there a point where short sentences just becomes too limiting for a real conversation?
That's a fair question, but the strategy is tactical. It's about stages. The sources suggest that by using these short sentences, they're basically decoupling the tasks.
Okay.
They're saying, look, for right now, your only job is to learn how to use these 8 simple adjectives clearly. We are not going to hit you with complex clauses.
Yeah.
You master clarity first. Then once that foundation is solid, you can start layering on the complexity.
It's scaffolding, the linguistic version of it.
It is. And speaking of reinforcement, the sources mention the use of repeated phrases over and over again.
Which seems critical. Not just for memorizing, but for cutting down the anxiety of trying to remember the right word.
It's fundamental. The structure is listen, pause, then repeat. This repetition, it literally moves the language from your conscious memory, which is slow and stressful, into what you could call procedural memory, muscle memory.
So when someone asks you, how is your neighborhood? The right sentence structure just pops out. You don't have to think so hard.
The processing effort drops to near zero.
So if we connect this back to you, the listener, mastering any new skill really needs the same blueprint. It needs a low-pressure environment, a pace that respects your brain's limits, and a lot of deliberate repetition of the most basic, essential actions.
It's the architecture for getting rid of anxiety while you get those early wins.
Okay, so we've got the supportive container, the architecture of confidence. Now we need to look inside. What are the actual contents? What's the linguistic quick start guide that lets a beginner describe their world with confidence?
Well, what's fascinating here is just how carefully curated it is. It's like they figured out the minimum viable product for communication.
I I like that.
The entire foundation is built on just two things: a small, really functional set of basic adjectives and super simple sentence patterns. They go for clarity and function over, variety.
Which suggests the words they chose must have been selected really carefully. It wasn't just about picking common words, it had to be about picking powerful words. So what are they? What are these key adjectives the sources pull out?
The core list is small, but you could say it's mighty. It's 8 words that let you paint a picture of almost any place, both factually and how you feel about it. They are big, small, quiet, noisy, clean, crowded, beautiful, and comfortable.
I'm really intrigued by that list. Why those 8 specifically? Why is comfortable on the list, but maybe old or modern isn't?
Because these words let you communicate your experience, not just a dry description. Big and small, that's objective. Quiet and noisy describe the atmosphere. But comfortable and beautiful,
That's personal.
that's your personal evaluation. The sources suggest the whole point is to use words that show how you feel in a place, which is way more engaging in a conversation than just listing facts.
So the goal isn't just to be correct, it's to be relatable.
Okay.
And the sources also point out 3 other key descriptors that get reinforced: nice, busy, and safe. So that brings the whole toolkit up to just 11 words.
And think about it. With just those 11 words, you can cover almost any essential judgment you'd make about a place. Is it safe? Is it busy? Do I like it here? You can communicate the core feeling of anything from a tiny cafe to a huge city. It's just radical efficiency.
But those adjectives are kind of floating in space without a frame to hang them on. So what are the simple sentence patterns they model for learners?
The patterns are the real foundation. The first one is just descriptive. This place is, it's the simplest statement you can make. But the second one, that's where the real confidence-building magic is.
Which is?
I feel comfortable here.
Yeah, that completely shifts the burden, doesn't it?
Exactly. If you say, this place is clean, someone could argue with you. They could see a speck of dust and say, no, it's not. But if you say, I feel comfortable here, that's your opinion. It's your emotional response. It's linguistically untouchable.
You can't be wrong about how you feel.
Right. And that reduces the anxiety of being wrong. The focus shifts from perfect grammar to just honest expression.
Which is the whole point of a conversation. And speaking of conversation, confidence isn't just about making statements, it's about keeping the ball rolling. The sources also highlight the simple questions they use to do that.
They're the ultimate conversational tools, really. Just, do you like this place? And how's your city?
They're conversational softballs. The questions are simple and, crucially, the answers you're expected to give can use the exact 11 adjectives and 2 sentence patterns you just practiced.
The simplicity of the question matches the simplicity of the required answer. So the conversation doesn't suddenly hit a wall because of a complexity spike. It's a safe, repeatable loop of practice and production.
It just proves that a lot of communication mastery is about having reliable, simple ways to start and continue a conversation, not just having a huge vocabulary.
And if we connect all this back to the bigger picture, the reason this whole learning tool works so well, the reason it's so confidence boosting, is because it's directly tied to familiar surroundings.
Right. Your brain isn't trying to process new concept and new language at the same time.
You're just mapping the new language onto mental frameworks you've had for years. The cognitive friction is just so much lower. And we know the specific places they talk about in the source conversation, and they basically cover your entire social world.
They start with your home.
The place you know best. Then they move out to your neighborhood, a park.
Yeah.
And then finally they broaden it out to your workplace and your whole city, which requires slightly more abstract thinking.
So by focusing on familiar places, the resource is leveraging your existing expertise. I mean, you know if your neighborhood is safe or busy or quiet, you just need the word for it.
Exactly. It gets rid of the need to visualize some new abstract idea, which would just double the mental work. It's really smart psychological design. It grounds the vocabulary instantly.
And that leads directly to the ultimate payoff that the sources describe.
It does. And that payoff isn't just, remembering a few more words. It's a real psychological shift.
In your own ability. Self-efficacy.
Absolutely. The goal, as the sources describe it, is to get to a point where learners will feel more comfortable describing places around you and expressing your thoughts clearly in English. Clarity of thought leads to confidence. The measure of success is feeling comfortable, not getting a high score on a test.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, whether you're learning a language or trying to get your head around a complex technical field? I think this analysis shows a really powerful principle.
Hmm.
The shortcut to confidence starts with radical simplicity and very focused repetition.
It means that when you approach a tough new subject, instead of trying to memorize a list of 50 complex terms, maybe you should first identify the 5 to 8 most essential, I don't know, variables or concepts, the words you need just to describe the system at a basic level.
You master those first, practice them in short sentences about things you already understand, and build your confidence brick by simple brick.
In a low-fear environment.
It's just proof that initial mastery isn't about how much you know, it's about the depth of confidence you can build with just a few essential tools. That has a fantastic breakdown. So let's do a quick summary of the key takeaways here. Confident speaking, it seems, really relies on slow, supportive modeling, using short sentences and repeated phrases, and focusing on a small, powerful set of descriptive words. Words like safe, quiet, and comfortable.
And here's a final thought for you to take away and chew on. The analysis we went through today, it focuses very heavily on describing things. So if using that core list of adjectives is the express route to confidence in describing your environment, let's call that level 1 confidence, what do you think unlocks the next level?
Hmm.
What's the fundamental grammatical structure? Or maybe it's just 5 essential verbs that would allow you to move beyond simple description and into clear narration, into telling a story and describing action.
Something to think about as you hunt for those foundational tools in whatever you're tackling next. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.